Pacific Rim Uprising lacked nearly all the qualities that made the original film an enjoyable experience. The first movie was directed by Guillermo del Toro, who was recently recognized for his work in Shape of Water with the Academy Award for Best Director and Best Picture. But it seems as though Pacific Rim Uprising really harvested all the pieces that I didn't appreciate from the previous film and magnified them to an incredible level. If the first film was an artistically crafted love letter to kaiju fans everywhere, the second film is a wooden, broy, space marine drama that has no direction, poor script decisions, and just left me bored, wishing there were more kaijus on the screen. The plot of the first film centered around an alien rift that opened up at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, which would spit out these enormous kaiju monsters, which is the Japanese word for monster. Now, the world fought back by creating these enormous robots piloted by people with these neurological connections, and these were called Jaegers. It was filled with cool, if not self-consciously cheesy sci-fi ideas, with minds melding with aliens, giant robots fighting creatures, and just was a whole lot of fun. It was made by someone who you knew was a fanboy of this kind of stuff, and it really showed. The major difference between that movie and Pacific Rim Uprising, which was still produced by Guillermo del Toro, but was directed by someone totally different, is that it lacked all of that real love for kaiju movies. It felt more like a stiff ragtag team kind of adventure with a group of youngsters who were against all the odds, fighting it out and sticking together, and just a lot of canned, garbagey speeches and horrible fall flat on your face kind of laughs that just were just enormous stinkers. The most just filled with platitudes and cliches. All of the characters you'd seen before, and the script didn't know where it was going. The script had no idea what it wanted to do. It was an hour and 10 minutes into the film, and we had seen like 14 seconds, I'm not kidding, of actual kaiju monsters. And I know from, watching a lot of Godzilla movies and kaiju movies that a lot of the monster battles do get stacked up at the end, but there was just nothing. There was a bunch of robot on robot, Jaeger battles that I didn't care about at all. And it was like finally at some point about an hour and 20 minutes into the film, when they were suiting up to go out and do something with the kaiju, I was like, man, this happened way too late. And then there's the kaiju battle at the end of the film, and I'm not going to, how you can't spoil a movie this stupid. But I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens, but the way that they defeat the big kaiju at the end of the film is just the stupidest way that you could ever kill a monster in your whole... Like, I've never seen a kaiju movie that had a worse way that they killed a monster. It was totally unbelievable within the framework that the movie had created about what this animal, this thing could withstand. It made no sense. And it's ridiculous on some level to be like, oh, a movie about giant monsters or whatever has unrealistic elements. But it doesn't matter what kind of fantasy elements are in the film if it needs to stay true to its own world's rules. And that's where the consistency comes from. And it was breaking these rules left and right. It had no idea what worked and what didn't. And they were just, this feels good, let's do this. And it was garbage. I was totally disappointed with it. A couple of the scientist characters from the original film that I really enjoyed were in this film in a way that I didn't like. Their characters went in a direction that I thought totally didn't work for them and made them seem completely unlike how they were before. And, the filmmakers or the writers may have thought that this was cool, but I thought it was dumb. There was like this sort of layer of irony or too cool for schoolness that was in the movie that doesn't work with the whole premise of a kaiju film. You can't make a kaiju film and then also on like the back burner be like, yeah, but we're gonna make this like cool for the kids. You gotta like frickin' embrace it like a Paul Verhoeven, Starship Troopers-esque, like, we're gonna do this like cheese wonderfulness RoboCop style. That's why the first one, the first Pacific Rim, was so fun, is because there was no irony. It was like, this is what we want to see. This is a lot of fun, and the new movie just totally didn't get that. So I've decided to give this movie a 28. I don't know really how I came up with that number. It was really a pretty horrible movie with maybe like 12 minutes of footage in the film that I enjoyed, and I'm using that word pretty lightly, enjoyed. So, I don't know. If it was twice as good, if it had twice as much footage in it that I liked, it would still be an F. So that's where I arrived at 28. It's like, it would almost be a D if it was twice as good as it was. Yeah, that's my scientific criteria for rating this film. So, if you're a huge kaiju fan, I guess you have to see it, which sucks, but, otherwise, don't see this movie.